Greetings, everyone. Happy to see you, beautiful people, here today. My name is Janine, folks, and this is Get the Pen. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to stop by at getthepen.net to check me out and read about me and read about my books. Today, I'm going to talk about the reboot of AJ's Miracle. Exactly 20 years ago, I decided to get the pen and write a memoir about my experience in a life threatening situation with my son, and it was entitled AJ's Miracle. And so 20 years later, I have decided to reboot it and add a chapter, an eighth chapter to bring us up to the present day state of AJ. Life with AJ is the title of chapter 8. And that's going to come first, and then the 1 through 7 will come after that. When I started working on this project, it brought so many emotions back, and I felt like I was time warped into 2004. It took me back. Every emotion that I felt at that time, I felt it as I read it. And the reason I wanted to put chapter 8 first is because I don't want this to be a sad book, because there are some sad uh, parts of this story, but it has a happy ending. So I wanted to start with that first to elevate our mood, to get us in a positive mind space, because that's the whole point of all of this, is to elevate our vibration, to be happy, to be positive. And this outcome was positive, but it was a hard road getting there. So I hope you'll go on that journey with me. I expect to have that republished in the spring of 2025. So be on the lookout for that. I'm sure we'll talk about it again between now and then. So, what I want to do today, first, I want to shout out my Aunt Lisa. Lisa Black, Lisa, formerly Lisa Folks, my favorite, one of my favorite aunts. I can't pick, all of my aunts are awesome, but I want to shout out my auntie Lisa. She helped me with a lot of things, and I remember when I was 12 years old, she let me drive. Don't tell anybody. She let me drive, and I almost took out a light pole, or like we were on Electric Street, Electric and Schaefer, if you know where that is, if you're familiar with Southwest Detroit. Yeah, I almost took out a power line, and we hurried up and stopped the car, and I got out. And I was scared to try to drive again until I was 15, when I wanted my freedom. So I took driver's training so I could hurry up and get my license and then gain some autonomy. But a shout out to my auntie Lisa for having faith in me when I was 12 years old. She trusted me with her car. It was a burgundy Ford Cougar, or Mercury Cougar. I don't know if it was Ford or Mercury who made the Cougars back then. Um, those were discontinued, but back in the day, that was a hot car, and she trusted me to drive it. And thankfully, we did not hurt anybody. We did not take out that pole that day. But it was fun and a memorable experience that I have with her and some of our time together. I love you, Auntie, and you are so special to me, because you always made me feel special. You know, those people who, when you see them, they get so excited, like you're the most important person in the world. That's always how she made me feel. So I try to pass that on, and whenever I can, to try to make people feel special and feel like they're the most important person in this whole world. That's what she did to for me, and I'm so grateful. And she was very instrumental in this whole ordeal 20 years ago with my son. Like, she helped save his life. She helped us, and I will never, ever forget that. So today, what I'm going to do is read a page out of AJ's Miracle. And most of the in the reboot is going to be the same thing. I'm just going to add a chapter. I'm adding chapter 8 to the book, and we're going to put that in the beginning, so that there's the joy first, and then you can go on that tumultuous journey with me that I endured 20 years ago. But it's a good read. It's a good read. So I'm just going to share a snippet with you just to give you a glimpse into the book, into that experience. None of us could believe this was happening. We all wanted this to be a dream, but it was very real. I wanted AJ to look up and say, "Hi, Granddaddy," like he used to do. "I feel better. Let's go home." But instead, he just laid there and didn't move a muscle, totally unresponsive. While my dad was holding him, AJ went into a seizure. This terrified my father, and watching those seizures was dreadful. I jumped up and tried to help and hold AJ so that he wouldn't hurt himself during this episode. And my dad and I were speechless. We felt so helpless. Thank God that my Aunt Lisa was also visiting at the time. After the seizure, when AJ calmed down, my Aunt Lisa got him situated. I went over to the couch. I curled up and cried, wanting to disappear. My Aunt Lisa gave me a pillow and put a blanket over me. I'll never forget how much she helped me get through the hard times. I was comforted for the moment while I rested, but I wanted my baby to be healed. My father's voice resounded in my head. He spoke to AJ with such confidence as though he knew that someday he would be back on his roller skates. At the time, it was unimaginable, but I wanted my father to be right. I pictured AJ with his skates on again, and I wanted it to become a reality. Sometimes there were glimmers of hope, and I took advantage of every opportunity to see something hopeful. I was trying to be optimistic. There were days where I would get so excited about progress I saw in AJ, only to be let down by a digression or a setback the very next day. I tried to keep my head up. I knew that I had to walk by faith and not by sight. And that's all I can read today. And I'm sorry, I don't even like crying on camera, but this book takes me there. So just a warning, when you read it, you might get caught up in my emotions. AJ's Miracle, the reboot, coming spring of 2025. Be on the lookout for it. Thank you guys. This was Get the Pen. I'm Janine. Have a good day.